Has this clear plastic tube solved all of our pour-over problems? Well, let's find out. A couple of things before we get started. This brewer was not sent to us. We bought it with our own money. We also have big plans for 2022, so if you haven't already, then please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss anything. And lastly, a massive thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. It almost feels like we're drowning in brewers and a new one comes out almost every day, and most of them are some variation of the original V60 or Kalita. But what we're looking at today is a little different and is why we're really excited for this one. So let's brew some coffee first before we dig into the details and get our hands dirty. Start by weighing out 15 grams of coffee and grind a touch finer than you would for pour over. We're at 20 clicks on the Comandante Mark IV. Drop in the paper filter and quickly dump some boiling hot water into it. This will push the filter down nice and flat and will also help preheat the chamber. Dump the coffee in and give it a good shake to level the grounds out, but to really ensure even flow and get the best results, we have a little hack. Any guesses? It starts with W and ends with T. Yep, WDT it is. That nifty little tool that solves all of life's problems. Just like we do with the South Indian filter, gently distribute the grounds so that you have a consistent depth across the bed. Don't go scratching too deep or you'll damage the paper filter. Once you have a level bed, place the shower head on and you're ready to brew. Start the timer and quickly pour in 45 grams of water in around 5 to 7 seconds. Give it a quick swirl and let it bloom for an entire minute to saturate all of the grounds and help up the extraction. At 1 minute, pour 110 grams of water over 20 seconds and let it drain until the water level is just about a centimeter above the bed. The timer should be at around 2 minutes and 30 seconds at this point, but don't get too hung up on this. Let the taste of the final cup dictate any tweaks that you make to this recipe. Then start the last pour of 100 grams over 20 seconds and let it drain completely. You're looking at a total brew time of around 5 to 5.5 minutes. Cleanup is also super simple. Just dump out the grounds and give it a quick rinse. For a deeper clean, you can pop out the filter plate to access all the nooks and crannies. This recipe is very easy to modify depending on the roast level you're working with. We use the light roast, which is why we extended the bloom and waited till the water level really dropped to start the second pour. This increases agitation. For more medium roasts, you can bloom for 45 seconds and do the second pour a little sooner, maybe when the water is around 2 or 3 centimeters above the bed. For darker roasts, ditch the second pour entirely, just do a 30-second bloom followed by a single full pour. Alternatively, to hit some super high extractions, you can grind much finer, around 14 or 15 clicks on the Comandante, and increase the amount of water to 330 ml. Yes, that's a 45.5 grams per liter ratio and produces a very different cup with a light tea-like body. Definitely give this a try with light roasts that have delicate florals and fruity notes. Great, so we now have a tasty cup of coffee to sip on while we take a closer look at this brewer and what makes it so different. The Tricolate is not much of a looker, at least in our opinion. It's very unique looking, we'll give it that, but it's made of thin plastic with many visible seams that make it look quite cheap up close. The form is also essentially a tall, rather awkward looking cylinder. When compared to drippers like the Café Flower or the Origami, the focus here is clearly not on aesthetics. Instead, we have something that has been carefully engineered to solve some very specific problems that other pour-over brewers are prone to. So what are these problems and how does the Tricolate get around them? Number 1, bypass. The ridges in brewers like the V60 or wavy filters like the Kalita ones create a gap between the filter paper and the walls of the brewer. Some of the water that's above the coffee bed slips out through the paper and down these gaps, making little to no contact with the coffee, and this is called bypass and leads to lower extractions. The Tricolate's flat-lying disc-shaped filter prevents this from happening. Number 2, high and dry. When brewing with other drippers, you have grounds that stick to the paper filter, and once the water is drained below the level that they're at, they no longer contribute to the extraction process, thereby resulting in lower extractions. Again here, the smooth vertical walls of the Tricolate prevent this from happening. Number 3, uneven pours. The perforated top chamber delivers the water onto the coffee bed evenly, eliminating the need to be super precise with pour height and speed. You can even get away without a gooseneck kettle, which is pretty cool. Number 4 would be surface area. The large 80 mm diameter combined with the untapered design greatly increases the surface area and reduces the bed depth for a given dose. allowing all of the coffee to get saturated much more quickly. This is especially useful when blooming and is one of the reasons it's capable of achieving such high extractions. There is a catch though. Shallow beds are more prone to channeling, but luckily the shower delivery system mitigates this to a great extent, and WDT is icing on the cake. Number 5 would be clogging. The larger holes, maze pattern, and faster filter paper have meant that we haven't had any stall brews, even with some of the more troublesome coffees that are prone to producing more fines. And lastly, we have thermal stability. This is not unique to the Tricolate, but the plastic does help a lot with thermal stability. But let's address the elephant in the room. It is plastic, and I know a lot of you, us included, are not super comfortable with this, especially when hot liquids are involved. The Tricolate is built with Triton, a material developed by Eastman, and is widely considered very safe. But then again, you're trusting that a large company has done their due diligence and isn't hiding anything. Clear plastic is prone to discoloration and scratches, so we'll have to see how it holds up over time. So with this, you're going to have to decide what you're comfortable with. If you're someone who's firmly in the no plastic camp, then we hope they come up with other material choices in the future. So it really does seem like they've created the perfect pour-over brewer, right? Well, the truth is that such a thing doesn't really exist. They've done an excellent job of addressing most of the big issues that exist, and it's really easy to use and get good results. But there's no one size fits all. We did some blind tests and still ended up picking the V60 for certain coffees. A conical brewer creates a different flavor profile that just showcases some coffees better. That being said, if we were talking technical perfection, then they've gotten pretty damn close. The Tricolate is around $70 and just shy of 5,500 rupees, so not exactly cheap. In fact, it's up there with some of the more expensive brewers, and unlike the Stag X or the Origami, it just doesn't feel like the build quality justifies the price. So why would you spend so much on this brewer? Well, that's simple. The R&D that's gone into it and the performance it delivers. With most companies making minor tweaks to the original V60 and Kalita designs, these folks have really stepped outside of that template and created something new and unique. It's not pretty, but for the results in the cup, we have no regret spending our money on this. Well, to be honest, this is for anyone who enjoys pour-over coffee. Even if you already have 5 other drippers, this offers something truly unique to justify adding it to your collection. So if you're not super picky about aesthetics and you don't mind using plastic, then the Tricolate will not disappoint. Well, it's time to wrap this one up. We hope you found this video helpful, but now we'd like to hear from you. Have you used this brewer? Has your experience been similar to ours, and is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, brew ARAMSE.